Tonight, you are going to do something no other animal on Earth does. You are going to take a raw ingredient, apply fire or heat to it, and transform it into something entirely new. You will call it dinner. But the real answer to why you do that is far stranger and far older than any recipe. Cooking is not a habit. It is not a cultural tradition. It is the single most important thing your ancestors ever did. And without it, you would not be able to think the thoughts you are thinking right now. Let that sit for a second. Your brain, the organ reading these words, solving problems, feeling emotions, building relationships, is a direct product of fire. Not metaphorically, literally. The neurons firing inside your skull right now exist because roughly 1.9 million years ago, one of your ancestors figured out how to control heat and apply it to food. And that one act rewired the entire trajectory of human evolution. But how did it start? Was it intentional? Did some ancient genius sit down one day and decide to invent cuisine? The answer is almost certainly no. And the real story is far more interesting. Imagine you were living 2 million years ago. You are not quite human. You are Homo erectus, upright, mobile, curious, but still deeply animal in your relationship with food. Every day, an enormous amount of your time goes toward eating. Not cooking, not preparing, just eating. Raw meat is tough. Raw tubers are dense and fibrous. Your jaw works for hours just to extract enough calories to survive another day. Your gut is massive. It has to be, because breaking down raw food requires enormous digestive effort. You spend more energy digesting than you spend doing almost anything else. Then something happens. A wildfire sweeps through a landscape. Animals flee. And in the aftermath, your ancestor finds something unexpected on the scorched ground. Meat that has been touched by flame. It is softer, it smells different, it tastes different. Something in the brain registers. This is easier. This costs less. The body does not have to work as hard to get what it needs. This is the theory Harvard primatologist Richard Wrangham calls the cooking hypothesis, and he spent decades building the evidence for it. Wrangham argues that cooking was not just a useful tool. It was the evolutionary trigger that turned a primate into a person. His 2009 book, Catching Fire, laid out the case in stark biological terms. Cooking externally pre-digests food. It breaks down cell walls. It denatures proteins. It converts resistant starches into bioavailable energy. In simple terms, cooked food gives your body more calories for less work. And that surplus changed everything. When your ancestors started eating cooked food regularly, their guts began to shrink. The enormous digestive system that raw food-eating primates require started to become unnecessary. Energy that had been spent on digestion got redirected, and the organ that benefited most from that redirected energy was the brain. The human brain is extraordinarily expensive. It makes up roughly 2% of your body weight, but consumes around 20% of your daily calories. No other primate has a brain this costly relative to body size. And for millions of years, evolution could not afford it. Raw food simply did not deliver enough reliable energy to power a brain this large. Cooking changed the equation. It made the energy available, and your brain grew. Anthropologist Leslie Aiello and biologist Peter Wheeler formalized this idea in what they called the expensive tissue hypothesis. Published in 1995, their research showed that in humans, the reduction in gut size and the expansion of brain size are not coincidental. They are directly correlated. As the gut shrank, the brain grew. The same evolutionary budget that once funded digestion was quietly being reallocated to cognition. Think about what that means. Every time you heat food, You are participating in the same biological bargain your ancestors made nearly 2 million years ago. You are outsourcing digestion to fire, and in doing so, you are freeing up the very energy that makes human thought possible. But here is where it gets stranger. It was not just the brain that changed, your entire face changed. Look at the skulls of Homo erectus compared to earlier hominids. The jaw becomes smaller, the teeth become smaller, the brow ridge flattens slightly. The face becomes more vertical, more open, more recognizably human. These are not random mutations. They are adaptations to a cooked diet. When food is soft, you do not need enormous grinding molars. When food is pre-broken down, you do not need the massive jaw muscles that pull your face forward into a snout. Cooking literally sculpted the shape of your face. Your stomach is also a product of fire. Human stomachs are significantly smaller, relative to body size, than those of other great apes. Chimpanzees have guts roughly 3 times larger than yours proportionally. That extra gut capacity exists because they eat raw food. You do not need it. The heat does the work instead. Now ask yourself, what would happen if you tried to eat the way your pre-cooking ancestors did? Researcher Stephen Boza and colleagues have examined what happens when humans attempt raw food diets long-term. The results are revealing. A significant portion of people on raw food diets, even carefully designed nutrient-rich ones, experience dramatic weight loss, fatigue, and, in women, disruption to reproductive cycles. Some studies suggest that a fully raw diet cannot reliably sustain the caloric demands of the modern human body. Your digestive system has been shaped by hundreds of thousands of years of cooked food. It is no longer optimized for raw. You are, in a very real sense, a cooked food animal. But cooking did something beyond biology. It did something social. Fire is a gathering point. When your ancestors started cooking food, they started sitting together around a shared heat source. They started waiting. Cooked food takes time to prepare, and that waiting, that shared space, that communal experience around a fire, anthropologists believe it is one of the foundational engines of human social bonding. You sat with your group. You shared food. You talked, or whatever the proto-language of Homo erectus was. You watched each other. You developed trust. You developed relationships that were not purely about survival, but about connection. Wrangham argues that the control of fire and the sharing of cooked meals is the root of the human pair bond. The tendency for humans, unlike most primates, to form long-term mating partnerships. In many early human groups, a female would cook food. A male would protect the food supply and the fire. This division of labor, centered on the hearth, shaped the social structures that eventually became family units, villages, and civilizations. The kitchen, in other words, is older than language. It is older than religion. It may be older than art. And here's the part that researchers like Michael Pollan have pointed out in works like Cooked. The act of transforming raw ingredients into something new through fire is uniquely, stubbornly human. Every culture on Earth cooks. Not some cultures, all of them. Across every continent, every climate, every historical era, humans cook their food. It is one of the few genuinely universal human behaviors. And universality in behavior almost always points to something deep, something wired in. When you smell food cooking, your body responds before you make any conscious decision. Saliva increases, stomach acid begins to prepare, appetite sharpens. This is not learned, it is ancient. Your body knows what cooked food means. It has known for nearly 2 million years. So the next time you stand at a stove, or watch something browning in a pan, or catch the smell of something roasting, understand what you are actually doing. You are not just making dinner. You are running the same ancient program that expanded your ancestors' brains, shrank their guts, reshaped their faces, built their social bonds, and ultimately produced the species capable of asking why any of this happened in the first place. The fire did not just cook the food. The fire cooked you. And tonight, when you sit down to eat something warm, something transformed by heat into something your body can use without effort, you are doing exactly what your ancestors did around a fire 2 million years ago. You just have a better kitchen.